Something went wrong, and your heart starts to swell. Cleaned off your soul, yes you did, and escaped from your head. Goes fishing in the river.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this Tuesday, we are talking about Low from 2009, which is actually a recommendation. Somebody sent in a really nice email to talk about Low. And he actually sent in a little audio for us. So I'm going to go ahead and play that because I think it's a perfect introduction to the movie.
I'm Josh. I found Low around 10, 12 years ago on Netflix from back in the day when you got DVDs each time. I had a habit of searching through obscure movies looking for that rare B-movie gem. When I read the blurb about Low and saw the cover, I ordered it. Unlike normal, I felt pleasantly surprised. While this is a B-movie, make no doubt, it almost uses it as a positive. I like how it behaves almost like a parody of itself. The way it does the memory sequences, like a bad off-Broadway play. It makes it seem comedic and even lighthearted. It never detracted from the story, which for me is the most important thing. I come from a background in tabletop role-playing games from since I was a child, where a group of people would sit in a room telling an interactive story, and that is what mattered, more than the backdrop. In video games, I love the ones that had great stories, the ones I remember. Mass Effect, the original Prince of Persia, BioShock, The Last of Us. The story and how it was told is what I remember, not the flash. And I loved the story and how it was told with Low. Enough so that I hunted down a copy and bought it, just so my wife could watch it. And she also liked it, for the record. And while I don't think it's for everyone, I would definitely recommend it. And I certainly hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do.
All right, cool. Thank you. And that's actually my uncle. He sent this in. Really great stuff. You've got me hyped up for this movie. I don't know about you.
No, when I listened to it, I actually really appreciated what he had to say. He had a really well thought out statement, and just it actually gave me a lot more feel of like why he actually picked this one and why this movie left an impression on him.
Yeah, and man, I don't even think we have to talk about it. I think we're good. He wrapped it up. Well, have a good night, everybody. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
No, I noticed your uncle didn't say chesticles like your dad did.
He did not say chesticles, no.
I didn't know if that was a family thing or not, like a family phrase around the house.
Passed down from my great-grandpa all the way down. Chesticles. No. I don't think I've ever heard my uncle say the word chesticles. But I have a weird history with this movie because I have seen this poster a lot. It's a very unknown movie, but I've seen it on Netflix because I remember it being like a Netflix staple back when Netflix streaming was like new. It was on.
Yeah, it was like, I remember that too, like it being in its infancy of streaming movies.
Mm-hmm. And I just never clicked on it. I never touched it. Do you have any experience with Low at all?
So I have never seen the movie Low. I knew about it for a long time because I was in a Facebook group with the actual director of the movie, nice. Travis Betts, and he actually did a podcast for our Facebook group called where it was like it was for the website Flickchart, where it was like you pit two movies against each other, and he hosted like the podcast for it, and that was like an episode they would actually go through and pick two movies, and they would just go back and forth, that type of thing. But I remember he actually made a bunch of little short videos. He was a receptionist at an office building. And one thing he would do is he would make little construction paper short films. And like in the little back room, they actually gave him like a little tiny like storage area. And he was actually able to shoot like all these like full characters that like made out of construction paper that he was able to do. So he's a really cool guy. I mean, he's super nice, made these really interesting movies. It's my first movie I've actually seen from him, though.
Yeah, no. And just from what you told me, it makes sense that he made this movie, because watching Low, this movie is the definition of pushing your dollar. Like, this is taking a low budget and pushing it to its absolute limit, I think. Because this movie is very, very low budget. And you can tell, but it takes that and makes it experimental and makes it very interesting.
That's one thing I did appreciate. I mean, so many times, especially like with Jesus Bro or Paranoia or just any of these other micro budget movies, they try to go way beyond their scope, where they have like multiple shot locations or big elaborate sets, and it doesn't really pan out that way. But this one, it's all in one room, and whenever they do have flashbacks, it's actually these play recreations. I actually like that aspect. It looked pretty cool that it was kind of shot like a play, and they were kind of recalling their previous memories, and they had these little stage hands like handing them props. And
yeah, it was interesting. I like it. Does everything it does weird and interesting, because it had like the little like drama and comedy faces that you see with plays, but they were like in the walls making faces reacting to what was going on in the plays. Super weirdo stuff. It's bizarre. I don't know about you. I came out as really liking this. I really like this movie. Now, do I think it has issues? I do. I think some of the comedy can be really lame. There was definitely like jokes at the beginning where it's like, God, this is annoying. But I think overall, I appreciated what it did with such a low budget.
Overall, I had a good experience. If I was to put it on a number scale, it's probably get like a 70% or something like that, 65 maybe. But there's some stuff in there where I just was really rolling my eyes. Some of the dialogue in this movie is very cringy to me. Ugh.
It's very 2009. I'll say that. It's definitely someone's type of humor, because that's the issue. Like, there's a line I keep thinking about just because it's so awful. And I mean, it's not a great line. Oh, go ahead.
I think I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Well, let's see. Summoning two demons is like fucking two chicks with one dick. And it was like, what? Okay. All right. What line?
Okay. I was thinking of the scene where he meets her for the first time, and the Lo is kind of messing with his memories, and they start 69ing on the table.
Yes,
and she screams out, "Do me like a lesbian."
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, what?
I was like, and so there's really dumb moments like that where I'm just like, okay, I get they're trying to make a horror comedy, and I don't think a lot of that type of stuff is necessary.
No. And it definitely, I do think it tones itself down as the movie goes along. The movie starts strong with this type of humor, to the point where I was like, oh no, because what it is, put in the simple terms, our main character summons a demon to get his girlfriend back, who has been taken by demons. So he's literally searching hell to try to find him. And it's pretty much him having a conversation with the demon he summoned, Lo. And Lo is very cocky, sarcastic, and makes tons of jokes. He eats popcorn in a scene. He says fuck a lot, of course, because that's funny, I guess.
Of course. I mean, I think that was kind of like a staple. Like, you got to curse as much as possible because cursing equals funny.
Yeah, very South Park-ish in a way.
But I was really thrown off guard by the comedy, because I didn't realize it was actually like a comedy, because when Lo shows up, he kind of speaks in this really slow, menacing voice, and I thought he sounded really cool. I'm like, oh wow, like this is actually a little creepy. Like, because I think his suit is great looking. Like the actual,
awesome.
Like the makeup for Lo is really good looking. But then all of a sudden he like immediately cracks a joke, and he says, "All right, now clean the shit out of your pants and tell me why you summoned me."
Yeah, exactly. It takes you a little off guard, especially.
I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, coming out of like you said, the makeup for Lo is really good. I like it. It's like he's like white and like no hair, and yeah, it's creepy. I think the makeup in this is pretty cool. There's another demon that shows up that's like a dinosaur bird.
Jeez.
Yeah, wearing a Nazi uniform for whatever reason. Because he's evil. Because he's evil.
Yeah. So the guy that plays that guy's name is Devin Barry, and he was the guy that actually did the podcast with Travis.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. And I like his song. There is a musical number in this movie.
There is.
I like that scene. I don't know.
It's good.
Yeah. It's like Earth Angel kind of deal. It's like a doo-wop rock band. It takes you off guard, I guess. It
does. And I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good scene. Not particularly a good song, but it was just kind of, I was just more laughing at the absurdity that was in this movie more than anything.
Exactly. I think back to, another micro budget movie that we covered, Paranoia. You kind of think about it and it's like, I think I said, it's a movie that's hard to rag on too much because you know where it came from. Right, where like Jesus Bro is actually just awful in a micro budget movie. I'd compare this more to Paranoia, where it's actually passion. There is actually passion here and hard work put into it. It reminds me of something because in Orlando they have the Orlando Film Fest, and I've been there. I've been there a lot, usually when they hold it, and that's what you'll see, micro budget movies like this, and you can tell the difference between a passion project and something somebody doesn't care about.
Yeah, it definitely. I can feel the love in the movie. I can definitely feel the love, the passion. They really wanted to make something good, and I think they did a good job. And it's definitely really admirable. Some other things I didn't think really worked too well. I thought there was a lot of scenes that went on for, not a lot, but there was at least a couple where I thought they went on for too long. There's one where they run into like another couple that's in like hell or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're describing their torture scene, like how they were tortured for like 3 to 5 minutes long, it felt like. And I was like, okay, I get it. They were tortured. It was bad. And then the other one was they show a guy making a drink, and it's just, that goes on really long too, where it shows him like how he does like a bartending type of stuff.
And there's a song for that as well. There's like a little dance number. Yeah, no, I agree. I also, there's a woman character in this. I'm forgetting her name right now, but she's not my favorite. Her acting is weird, and I get it because what it is she's like a hidden demon, and she's come down, and she's supposed to act weird, but she never really worked for me. I don't know what it was. I didn't love her.
She acted really odd. I didn't think she was too terrible. I've definitely, especially on this show, I feel like we've seen much worse.
Yes, yeah.
But it wasn't particularly bad, but it wasn't great either. No. And the only person who I thought actually did a decent job, because even the guy Justin, I didn't think was too great.
Not really, yeah.
But I actually thought the guy that did Low, I thought he did a pretty decent job. He was really all in on that character, it felt like.
He reminded me of the dang Grinch. He reminded me of Jim Carrey in the Grinch suit. Like, he went full out, just went crazy and like captured that energy. I agree. Now, Low is definitely the best one. Justin, unfortunately, I just think his delivery is not all there, but that just comes from like, the actor pool that they probably have to pick from for movies like this.
And he was just making those like weird facial reactions too, like it's just real bug-eyed, like type of thing.
Like the director was back there, was like, "No, ham it up. We're making a ham fest here." No, I feel you. I don't know about you. I like the ending to this movie. It gets really serious in its finale. It kind of, like I said, it slowly drops the comedy, but then it just stops being a comedy completely. I don't know. It had some kind of emotional thing for me that I actually really liked.
Well, that's what I'm glad they actually went that direction. I mean, I know it was a comedy, and at that point I was used to it, but at the end of the day, it's still a sad love story about a guy that fell in love with a demon, and now he can no longer see her ever again. So they do kind of show like the weight of the situation. Like, no, this is not going to end very happily for anyone.
Yeah, it's not a lighthearted comedy at the end of the day. It had a little bit of something to say, because he does have to accept that he lost his love, that the love of his life had died, and there's no bringing her back. And yeah, and it brings that weight pretty well at the end. And you'd think that tone change would be too jarring, but I think they did a good job of easing you into that realization.
Let me ask you, did you expect the ending? So, spoiler alert, it turns out his girlfriend was actually Lo.
Yes, yeah.
So, did you expect that? Because I kind of called it. I feel like probably, I want to say probably like halfway into it, I felt like I knew it was kind of like, that was kind of what I felt like they were doing.
Funny, I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. She turned away whenever she came up and was like, she had no use of her legs or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it didn't take me to the end of the movie for me, so I guess it worked a little bit better for me.
I didn't think it didn't work. I was like, and I wasn't even like 100%. I was like, I think that might be her, but because at the same time, I'm like, the Lo could have killed him at any point, I feel like. And there was one scene too, I thought it was a little odd because Lo was showing to lying to this guy like directly. He's like, oh yeah, I like to lie a lot. And then he made Justin a drink, and he's like, you gotta drink this is the only way you're gonna be able to see her. And then he drinks it. He's like, ha, it was poison. I'm like, why would you drink that? Like,
yeah. Well, no, and they even make a joke out of him because the other demon shows up and he's like, you really fell for the poison trick? Come on, that's the oldest trick in the book. After Justin, he's been pretty smart the rest of this movie, right? He's like, no, that's a trick. You're lying. That's a trick. And then he's like drinks a drink that he gets made for him.
Yeah, like a demon makes him a drink brewed with something he doesn't even know what it is and just drinks it willingly. But it turns out, like you said, that was his girlfriend the whole time, and he was never in any real danger. So
no, and I thought it was building up to maybe something a little different because there was a constant like thing throughout the movie of them being like, "Oh, your circle's shrinking soon." I thought it was going to have something to do with that, and that doesn't really do much. I guess that just adds tension throughout the movie. Yeah, I mean. It's got a cool look because it's almost no sets. It's like a black room for most of the movie. So
just a big black void.
Yeah, it's all about dialogue. This movie is all about its writing.
One other thing too, I did like the golden faces on the side of the curtains, just reacting to what was happening during the plays. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I've never seen anything quite like that before. I was looking around at this movie and what people felt about it, and the word experimental came out, and I don't know if it's like quite on that end, but it's definitely interesting. It definitely does a lot of stuff I've never seen before. Yeah,
I don't know if I'd call it an experimental movie, but it's definitely trying new things.
Exactly, yeah. I didn't really look at Travis Spett's like filmography, so he has made other films other than Lo.
Yeah, there was another one called The Dead Inside, which also stars the same female lead. And that one, he's in another movie called Dust Up, which was actually directed by the guy that played Justin in this movie.
Oh my God.
He's directed other movies too, which has, there's another one with Devin and where it plays like a couple that stays in bed all day.
Gotcha.
And then I think he also directed one of the ABCs of Death short films.
I did see that. Yeah, he's worked on like one of the ABCs of Death movies. So, I mean, what horror director hasn't at this point? But,
right.
No, I mean, that's cool. This guy has a lot of promise. I think with this movie, it's cool. If he ever got to make like an actual like big budget movie, I could see it being something well made, especially if he had really good money and really good actors behind it.
Absolutely. And it's definitely a really admirable start, and hopefully we'll see something else that even more impressive in the future. Who knows?
We'll see. Who knows? And, but yeah, I guess that, I don't know. Is there anything else about Lo? Anything else that stood out to you?
No, I don't. I think that about covers it for me.
Yeah, that covers it for me. I really enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it. It's a short watch, super simple. Get past some of the cringy humor that it has, and I think it has a pretty good center to it all.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's just pretty much the same thing you said. It's just once you get past the real edgy type of humor, there's a nice story in there. I mean, don't go in there expecting a big grand movie with superb acting or anything like that. Just kind of once you put yourself in that mindset of thinking like, oh, this is what my friends would, if we had a little bit of extra money lying around, this is the type of movie we would make or whatever. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. Well, thanks for the recommendation, Josh. We'll be sure to be on the lookout for any more recommendations. If you have anything you want to send to us, be sure to send us an email over at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Just opinions, maybe even memories about any movies that we cover. Also, be sure to follow us at DIDF Pod over at Twitter. We are tweeting all the time. Mostly Ryan. He handles it. He's doing a great job over there. But yeah, and I think that leads us into what are we going to be covering on Thursday, Ryan?
Well, Nathan, I hope you're ready to take a little cruise down to Jamaica because we're going to be doing, we're actually going to be doing 1972's The Harder They Come. It is free on Tubi. We love Tubi. So be sure to check it out. Follow along with us and as we talk about it, and just let us know your thoughts and feelings, like we said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and until next time.
Until next time.
You were born out of man's greed and woe. She doesn't know what that heart